to talk about who is the richest of us all, the richest among startup founders in India, startups in India. There's a list that is out. Bear in mind, the list is not always about the Mukesh Ambanis and the Zara founders, the global Hurun rich list. I'm sure you've heard it many, many times. This is not that kind of a rich list. This is not like, people with generational wealth who've gone on to create more wealth and etc. etc. We're talking about a very specific list about people who have created wealth with their ideas, with their hard work and their own companies. Startup founders we're talking about. Who are these startup founders? Who is the richest of them all? We have my colleague Udisha joining us with the details on that. Udisha, great to have you here on Business Plus. Talk to us, who is the mirror on the wall? Who is the richest of them all?
Right, so that would be revealed later. But let's talk about the basics. A very interesting report is recently out. The report is in collaboration with Hurun India and IDFC First. And this report is titled India's Top 200 Self-Made Entrepreneurs of the Millennia 2023. Now, let's point out at some of the outliers and trends and patterns in the list before we actually reveal
not giving us who's the richest of them all.
So she's correcting me saying that this is a Hurun list at the end of the day. It's a different kind of a Hurun list. It's not, as I said, it's not about generational wealth. It's about self-made entrepreneurs. Yes. The word here, ladies and gentlemen, is self-made, like all of us here in the studio, isn't it, Udisha?
Right. So let's point out at some of the outliers, trends and patterns in the list before we again reveal the showstopper, let's say, the list stopper.
Right.
So, okay, who are the entrepreneurs? Where are these entrepreneurs based? So, these are top 3 cities where these entrepreneurs, self-made entrepreneurs, are based out of. Bengaluru, 129 founders, Mumbai, 78 founders, and if we talk about Gurugram and Delhi, then 49 founders. So, if Bengaluru is topping the list here, in this case, then definitely there is a reason why we call Bengaluru the startup capital of the country. Next up, what is the average age of these entrepreneurs? So, in this list, there are 200 companies and the total number of founders are 405. So, what is the average age of these entrepreneurs? The average age of these entrepreneurs is 44 and 1/3 of all these entrepreneurs are below the age of 45.
Wow.
What is the collective wealth created by these companies? So, the collective wealth that is created by these top 200 companies is in tune of 30 lakh crore. And if you look at the number 30 lakh crore, this number is equal to the GDP of a European country, that is Denmark.
Wow. Or for that matter, a quarterly, almost close to a quarterly GDP numbers for India.
We just talked about that, yes. Now, who is the youngest entrepreneur in the list? The youngest entrepreneur in the list is Kevalia Vora of the grocery app founder Zepto. Now, remember that he established this startup when he was 19 or 20 years of age. And he is the youngest to be featured on the list. To give a little detail about him, he was studying in Stanford University and he dropped out and established this startup. Who has topped the list of women entrepreneurs? So, Falguni Nair of Nika Fame, the beauty retail brand, has topped the list. And a recent update about Nika is that Foot Locker, the American sneaker company, has partnered with Nika and it's looking to expand its business in India. Talking about Nika, Nika is also looking to open international stores by the end of this year, and we are already in the end month of this year. So, hopefully, we'll have an international store of Nika. Next up, who are the youngest women entrepreneurs? So, there are 2 women entrepreneurs who are aged 35. One is Ghazal Alag of Mamaearth, and we know about her because of the Shark Tank India fame. And the
recent IPO of Mamaearth.
IPO also. Right. And the Soumya Singh Rathore of Winzo. Winzo is an online gaming platform, and both these women are aged 35.
Right.
Next. What is the total number of women in the list? Now, the total number of women in the list is 20. You are talking about founders in the number of 405 and the number of women is 20. So, the number is not so good, but moving ahead, we are hoping that this number will definitely improve and everything. Now, the showstopper, the list topper. Who has topped the list? Radhakishan Damani of DMart has topped the list of these founders, and DMart, Damani Mart, is operated by Avenue Supermart. So, this person has topped the list, and now we'll talk about the actual top 10 companies in the list.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the list of the top 10 companies, and amongst the top 5 we have DMart, Flipkart, Zomato, Swiggy, Dream11. In the next, we have Razorpay, Max Healthcare Institute, Paytm, Cred, Zerodha. Now, these are the companies. So, if you try to find out a pattern here, most of these companies are digital based startups, right? And most of these companies they have started post 2000 also. So, this number is very interesting and we can look at it. Apart from these 10 things here there are other companies also that featured in the list. For example, Lenskart, OLX, Ola, these were also part of the list. So, this holistic list talks about the entrepreneurial ecosystem of India at this point, and very interesting list at that. Yes.
All right, fascinating over there. What fascinates me despite there are obvious category people over there, Paytm, Razorpay, Swiggy, so many.
Right.
Cred, I'm still having my questions over Cred's profitability, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
I mean, the man has made his money, right? So we are talking about the richest. We are not talking about the most profitable.
What the beauty of it all is that if you go back to number 1 on that list, what a business idea that was. Mr. Radhakishan Damani, the only way you can describe somebody like him is OG. The origin, OG of startups in this country. Nobody will look at DMart and think of it as a startup.
Not at all.
And nobody will think of it as a self-made entrepreneur. None of these words get associated with something like a DMart, which is a grocery store.
Absolutely.
It's just a regular, supermarket grocery store. And look at what that did. 25 years nearly, and continues to be the highest wealth creator. And beauty about DMart is that so many shareholders, so many people who bought DMart stock also made money.
True.
Apart from people benefiting from good DMart potato and onion prices, which they give at a good discount, people who bought DMart stock got great money. I mean, Udisha, that's the fascinating thing about this list, because I'm not sure how many people who bought Zomato have made great money. Zomato stock have made great money.
Well, now it's become a multi-bagger. So if you look at it, I think people who have invested in Zomato back in its listing in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, have definitely made money.
Wrong year to talk about the Zomato stock. Zomato stock is a multi-bagger this year, but we will leave it at that. Udisha, thank you so much for joining us with that list, and good that you had the reveal right at the end, because the reveal tells a different story. It's not Zomato, it's not Swiggy, it's not Razorpay, it's not Ola, it's not Oyo. It is DMart, who is the richest of them all. Thank you, Udisha, for being with us.